Well, we're talking about serving students for over 50 years now. Our next guests embrace learning differences in children all over Northeast Ohio. Courtney Williams and Brianna Diller are joining us from Lawrence School in Broadview Heights. I'm so happy to have you both here.
Thank you so much for having us.
The school is incredible. I would love for you, before we get into all the great programs, how did the school come to be and what all do you offer?
Great question. So we've been around for over 50 years. We specialize in learning differences such as dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, executive functioning deficits that come along with ADHD. We have two campuses, one in Broadview Heights that goes up to the 6th grade and one in Sagamore Hills, that's 7th and 8th grade, our middle school, and then our high school 9 through 12.
So this is a traditional schooling program, right? That they would go and can they start kindergarten or
around 2nd grade is generally
okay.
when students get identified with a learning difference.
Okay.
So don't forget, many times students have letter reversals, or some kids are just slow to read, and then once they do, they're off and running. So truly a learning difference isn't generally identified until about 2nd or 3rd grade. So that's when we kind of step in.
And I will tell you, a lot of the students that are going to these schools are much smarter than I probably ever was, right? I mean, they're very talented, smart students who just need a different avenue in their teaching process.
Exactly right. So this has nothing to do with intellectual ability. This is just students who learn differently. So we at Lawrence really see their differences as not limitations, but as strengths. They're creative problem solvers. They are out-of-the-box thinkers. They are critical thinkers. So harnessing those strengths, giving them the accommodations they need to really just accommodate for those learning differences versus a traditional school setting. 1 out of 5 students have a learning difference. So
that's a large number.
It's a large number. So that means 20% of kids do. So that means every classroom in every school has a student with a learning difference. So there's a vast difference from a school that supports students with learning differences and one that specializes in it. And that's exactly what Lawrence does.
I know the end of the school year is fastly approaching here, but Brianna, there are a lot of summer things that you still are doing as well, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, our commitment to intense summer learning has been a long-standing tradition at Lawrence for over 30 years now. So we are one of the only academic programming for students with learning differences in Northeast Ohio. So families are really looking to us when they're looking for very specific summer programming for their students. Our Lions Leap program is our summer program, so it's 4 weeks. It is multi-sensory approach, which is very similar to our school year program. So we do know it works for these learners, even though it's only 4 weeks. Students come in, they build confidence, which is the biggest takeaway from all of this. They're meeting other students that are learning like them, they're building up skills, and you know, a lot of times you think of summer of like summer slide. So we like to take that and kind of leap forward in those 4 weeks and really give the confidence to those learners that are joining us for the summer.
Plus, it's really fun.
Yeah, it is very fun.
Yeah, the kids have a blast.
Well, and you have 2 of your students that are here today, and I think it's so impressive. They're heading off. Are they both seniors?
They're both seniors.
Heading off to college. When you think about that, and I can only imagine what their reaction would be if we were to put them in this seat and say, this is what this did for us. But I think it's so amazing, the sense of, for generations ago, our generation even, it wasn't, things weren't diagnosed as well, and the question of, and the uncertainty of what's going on with me, or why am I struggling, was I think probably the hardest part for people. But what you're enabling them to do is feel comfortable in their own skin and understand, okay, here's what's going on, and here's how we can solve it.
Exactly right. So these are bright, capable kids. They just learned it. They process information differently, right? So we're teaching a way in which they learn. They don't have to adjust their learning to how we teach. And that's generally what a traditional education system does. So, and you know, it's a really beautiful thing to see these kids thrive when their academic needs are met. So, you know, for parents who might just be curious about learning more about their student and how they learn, or if they're looking to change schools entirely, Lawrence can really be a good resource. We're the only school in Northeast Ohio. We're one of only 3 in the state that specialize in learning differences. So, yeah, so calling our office, we are here to kind of help and guide through whatever that next step might look like for your student.
And when you have women like this who are in charge of things, you know that these students are in great hands. And again, we have the website up there. You can always look into that. Is it too late to get involved in the summer program?
No, it's not too late. We are still accepting applications through May 21st.
Okay, so keep that in
Yes.
mind too. Thank you
Yes.
both so much for coming.
Thank
and
you for
doing all the
having us.
amazing work.
Thank
so
you.
glad we have that here in Northeast Ohio.